I'm Reverend Portia Cavett, pastor of Clare Memorial United Methodist Church and a Together to End Stroke ambassador. So glad that you are joining us today. Now that we recognize spring is here, the weather is warming up, the trees and flowers are blossoming. I'm sure that a lot of us allergy sufferers are having to take our medication regularly to make sure that we enjoy, but we thank God for the spring that we can share together. And so today, as we share, we want to continue our conversation to make sure that you are informed. And I'm happy today to have with me Elaine Bennett of the Respite Care Coordinator for Douglas County and Sarpy County of the Nebraska Lifespan Respite Network. I'm sure many of you are saying, Reverend, why are you talking about respite? Well, I know that there are many persons out there that are caregivers for their loved ones that sometimes forget to take care of themselves. And we always hear that sometimes it's the caregiver that might go before their loved one that they are caring for. And so we just want to make sure that we have a conversation and inform you about the respite care and the services that are offered here in the city of Omaha, Nebraska. Therefore, Ellen, thank you so much for joining us today. And so I would ask you, what is respite and how can it be helpful to family caregivers?
Thank you. Well, respite is really what the definition says. It's an opportunity to take a break from your caregiving duties. It allows that family caregiver a chance to recharge, refresh, and then return to their caregiving duties renewed. Research is showing, like you said, a lot of times the family caregivers aren't taking the time to take care of their own health concerns. They're not even maybe eating properly or getting the exercise they need because they're so focused on their family caregiving responsibilities. One of the things that we really want them to do is to use respite so they can take care of their own healthcare appointments, maybe do something as simple as go to the grocery store, or even get a cup of coffee and read a book. And sometimes the family caregiving role can come on suddenly. Right. With a healthcare diagnosis or even the result of an accident.
Okay, and so often people just forget about themselves, that they're caring for their loved ones. They want to be there. If something happens, they want to make sure that they're there. But it's so important for them to take time out for themselves and to know what is available for them. So what is the Nebraska Lifespan Respite Network and how can it assist in these services?
It's a statewide network. There are 6 regional coordinators. Myself, I'm one. I'm for Douglas and Sarpy County. We maintain a database of annually screened respite providers. We can also explain to family caregivers what respite is and letting them know that it's available so they can take a break.
Okay, so what type of respite providers do you have?
We have anything from maybe college students all the way to retirees. We have non-medical companions all the way to licensed or LPNs and registered nurses. They do charge a fee. Usually our non-skilled or non-medical companions are $10 to $15 an hour. Let's see, the providers will come into the family home and give that family caregiver a break. I've had some family caregivers that even go out and do gardening. You mentioned spring before. Right. They just know that somebody is in the home with their loved one. Okay. And the coordinators can also guide family caregivers to funding sources. One of the things the Nebraska Respite Network has is the Lifespan Respite Subsidy. Okay. That was a program begun in 1999 to help family caregivers assist them in paying for respite costs.
So there is some cost. Question, how are your providers vetted? Do they go through background checks or what?
Yes, we do a yearly background check. And let's see, those include just different background checks.
Okay, so to make sure that we're not just inviting anyone into our homes. And who selects that person? Is there a questionnaire or does the network just send someone?
We have an application process that they go through. They fill out an application and the background check release form and have that notarized. And then we also check their references. And then once all of that is passed, we put them into our database.
Okay, and so then also how diverse is are your providers, and even for language purposes?
Very diverse. We have people from all walks of life, if you will. We are, one of the areas that we're focusing on this year especially is trying to get more bilingual providers.
Because that's so important in
Yes.
case English is not the spoken language. So in essence, you said who serves, and so from the college student to a LPN or RN or other services. For a typical person that has a loved one that is sick, and once they fill out the application, how can they contact the respite care?
Usually what we do is when we're contacted by a family caregiver or a family member, they will go through a questionnaire with us, telling us what the diagnosis is, what they're looking for, and then we generate a list of possible respite providers. We then send that list to them and they contact them directly.
Okay, so where are you located? And one, would the doctors or the doctor's office or their healthcare provider give them information about respite? How would the average person hear about you?
Right, we hope so. Our office currently for the Douglas and Sarpy County office is in Monroe Meyer Institute at UNMC. And we're hoping that doctors' offices and many clinics are sharing information about respite. Otherwise, a lot of it is word of mouth. People tell, oh, I know someone who could do this, so.
Okay, so if I'm not utilizing the University of Nebraska Med Center, are you in other healthcare systems? Information, are there flyers that are passed out? I'm just curious of how people would get the info.
Yes, we do have a lot of brochures, and they're in different locations. And we can send them to different people as well. Okay. So we do share that information. We also go to do presentations at different clinics and different medical facilities. Okay. Also educational service units for kiddos, different offices on aging, just to name a few.
So you do go out if different organizations invite you to come in and talk to them. Okay, so am I a family caregiver?
That is probably the biggest question I receive. I always tell people if you're caring for someone who has maybe a special healthcare diagnosis or something like a stroke or a heart attack or even a special need, you're a caregiver. Okay. We always want to emphasize that we tend to say, well, I'm just the spouse, or I'm just the daughter, I'm just the mom. You're really a caregiver. Those duties usually fall in that, but yes, you are a caregiver. Myself, I was part of that sandwich generation that you hear about. I was caring for a mom. My mom had some healthcare concerns, and then I also have a child with behavioral health issues. So I found myself really in that sandwich generation. And we do find that a lot of our family caregivers may feel isolated. There may not be family supports in place. Maybe they have no family locally that can help them. Maybe that family, if they are locally, don't really want to help with giving them a break, or they may not have friends that can give them the break. So we really want our family caregivers to recognize that they need a break sometimes.
Okay, so anyone that is helping to take care of a loved one that needs, 24-hour care, or just to be present, not to leave them at home alone, is a caregiver?
Both, I think. One of the examples I give is, imagine a family caregiver, you're leaving your job at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you're going on to your second job as a family caregiver. You're working at that second job and you fall into bed exhausted that night and get up the next morning ready to do it again.
Well,
if you got any sleep the night before.
okay. Well, then I must be a caregiver because I don't get any sleep. I'm looking
Oh, no.
and sharing with people each and every day. And so in the respite care, it gives the caregiver a little time to take a break, like you said, to go get a cup of coffee, to go shopping, or just to go out, leave the house to
Exactly.
be away from the loved one just for a few moments and know
Right.
that they are being cared for. And so
Exactly.
I think that's so important for people to know that there are services out
Yes.
here that can
Yes.
help them. But what if I'm struggling with the fact that I don't want to leave my loved one, that I don't want to be away from them even though something might not happen?
Right. Well, our providers are really focused on caring for that individual. They may just be there offering a cup of coffee and conversation. As you know, they may be, if it's a CNA or a nurse, maybe they are providing different skill sets. So I always encourage people. A story from my own life. My mom was caring for my stepdad who had Alzheimer's. And she was one of those people, she did not want to leave him. She would always say, oh, I'm the only one that can do this job. I'm the only one who knows how he wants his coffee, make his toast, those kinds of things. We finally convinced her to take a break. And she did. She went downtown and did her own shopping, did her own medical appointment. She came back and she was so refreshed and renewed. But it was interesting because my stepfather was also refreshed and renewed because he liked having someone else to talk to. Someone else made his coffee and toast, maybe a little differently, but that was okay. So it was a really good win-win for both of them.
And that's so important, and I'm so thankful that the respite care provides that, because sometimes we do need different interactions
Exactly.
to share with people and our loved ones, no matter what state or what stage they are in, that to have someone new, even if it's to say the same
Right.
thing over and over, that they're telling it to a new person, and that
Exactly.
person would be there to share with them. And so then as we look at how we can provide help for persons that are for families, especially those that are taking care of their loved ones or even the loved one themselves, how can not only the respite care services provide help, but how can the average person provide help?
Well, that's a great question. The average person can sometimes offer maybe to give that family caregiver a break. Here in the Midwest, we're really focused on doing it all ourselves. We
Right.
can handle it all. But it is okay to say, you know, I might need some help. And I know a lot of us will say, what can I do to help you? And then the person will come up with, oh, I don't really know. But even if you want to just offer to go in and have a cup of coffee with that person, or sit and watch a TV show, those are some ways you can give that caregiver a break.
And I truly believe that I tell my members all the time to either just call, send a card,
Very
just stop
good.
by for a visit. Because both, just to go visit and talk with someone gives them a little highlight in their day and allows them
Exactly.
to see, and especially for those that might be suffering with Alzheimer's, to have someone just to listen, or someone new to ask, who are you?
Exactly.
I mean, you know, to make them feel like they're in the conversation. And so as often as I visit different persons, I find that they're just looking for that interaction, that physical interaction that
Right.
they can have with another human being.
That's so true.
So it is so important. And I want to make sure that we get all of the information and the telephone number that we can post, so that if someone is in need of respite care, that we would give you that information. Understand that there is a cost. There is $10 an hour for those that are not per se skilled, all the way up to maybe $45 to $50. But then I did hear you say that there was a $125 subsidy that people can give. So don't allow the finances to stop you from getting help. and especially even in churches or in groups that you belong to, that there might be someone that is willing to come in and to sit with your loved one.
Right.
And if there is a family member that is there to at least help, to give just an hour. If it's 30 minutes, if I wanted to go play in the dirt and dig up or plant for my garden, that someone would be in the house with my loved one. And so we just look forward to sharing this information with our
Wonderful.
viewers so that they would know that there is indeed help. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us?
I think we've covered everything. I just want people to know that we are out there to help you, so don't hesitate to call us. There will be a website available, the NRRS website. That'll come up on our prompter. And also a brochure that tells a little bit more about respite. So thank you.
What's NRRS?
It's the Nebraska Resource and Referral System.
Okay.
And
So it's important that people know what services are out here. We don't want anyone to wait until the last minute or after the fact and say
Right.
that they did not know. So
Right.
thank you so much
Well,
for
thank
coming
you.
on
Thank
to
you.
tell us about this important service that is offered here in Douglas and Sarpy County.
thank you for
Thank you,
having me.
Ellen.
Okay.
Thank you again for tuning in to For the Love of You. As I've stated, you are very special to us, and because we love you and we want to provide you with the necessary information, because you are indeed the temple of God, and because God loves you, so do we, and we want to make sure that you do the best that you can for yourself as well as for your loved ones. Also, I want to announce that the Together to End Stroke Walk that we have every year on the first Saturday in June is coming up. We walk from Fontenelle Park up to Adams Park. This will be our 10th annual Together to End Stroke Walk. We have a lot of people that participate, and for this traveling plaque, I'm challenging groups, organizations to get involved. As you can see, if we draw in closer, that Clare Memorial United Methodist Church has had the most participants, those that have registered for the Power to End Stroke Walk to share. We have won this trophy 7 times. And so I'm trying to give the trophy away and just want to challenge you. It's a wonderful walk, 1.8 miles. There is a slight walking path in North Omaha. We want to bring that to light so that people would know. But it's a time to get together and share. It's less than 2 hours. We start at 9 a.m. and walk up to Adams Park. Then we have some activities at Adams Park. You can receive information, fruit, water. There is Zumba or Mixed Fit where you can get your dance on. There are drawings that we also have. It's just a fun time to make sure that we are as healthy as we can be. We want to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, and we provide you with those means and activities here in the city of Omaha. So thank you again for joining For the Love of You.